Ancient Egyptian. This style was built for Egyptian pharaohs, who were seen as gods. It is defined by its extremely large scale and skilled stone construction. Key features include large gateways to temples, huge halls filled with columns, and pyramid-shaped tombs. The main purpose of these buildings was to honor the gods and to serve as tombs that would protect the pharaohs for eternity. Roman Imperial. The architecture of the Roman Empire was designed to show its skill in engineering and its control over its territory. The Romans were masters of the arch, the vault, and concrete, which allowed them to build very large structures for public use. The style is defined by its huge amphitheaters like the Colosseum, grand public bathhouses, and large palace complexes. This was an architecture of public works, built to show the emperor's power to everyone. Medieval fortress. This royal style was all about military defense. In a time of frequent warfare, the castle provided security for a ruler. The style is defined by its key defensive parts: high stone walls with battlements, a fortified gatehouse, a central tower called a keep, and often a moat. From the Tower of London to castles across Europe, this style was not about comfort, but about being a strong, secure base of power. Gothic Royal Chapel. This style was used to build private chapels for royalty, showing a king's religious devotion and housing important relics. It used a new system of pointed arches and exterior supports called flying buttresses. This design allowed for thin stone walls that could hold large, beautiful stained glass windows. Chapels like Sainte-Chapelle in Paris are known for their height and the colored light that fills the inside. English Tudor. This was the style of the Tudor dynasty in England, mixing older castle features with newer, more comfortable designs. It is defined by its distinctive half-timbered patterns on upper floors, its use of red brick, and large groups of tall, rectangular windows. A key feature is the flattened Tudor arch seen over doorways. Palaces like Hampton Court are great examples, showing the shift from a military castle to a grand royal home. Renaissance Palace. As a new way of thinking spread across Europe, architecture changed from focusing on defense to celebrating art and knowledge. Based on ancient Greek and Roman ideas, the Renaissance palace is defined by its balance, symmetry, and use of classical details. The buildings featured orderly facades and elegant interior courtyards. This style was meant to show that the ruler was educated, cultured, and had good taste. Baroque Palace. This style was meant to impress visitors and show off a king's absolute power. Baroque architecture is defined by its huge size and its dramatic, theatrical design. Key features include grand, curving staircases, long halls of mirrors, and the use of expensive materials like gold, shiny marble, and decorated plaster ceilings. The Palace of Versailles is the most famous example of this grand and impressive style. Rococo Interior. This was mainly an interior design style used for the private rooms of royalty. As a reaction against the heavy, formal look of Baroque, it favored a lighter and more playful feeling. It is defined by its use of pastel colors, curving shapes inspired by shells and nature, and lots of mirrors to make rooms feel bright and open. The rooms of the Sanssouci Palace in Germany are a famous example of this decorative style. Neoclassical Palace. This style was a return to the simpler, more orderly designs of ancient Greece and Rome. It rejected the playful curves of Rococo for straight lines and symmetry. Neoclassical royal architecture is defined by its large scale and clean, flat surfaces, often featuring a grand porch with tall columns, known as a portico. The famous front of Buckingham Palace is a good example of this formal and dignified style. Victorian Royal. This was the architecture of the British Empire during the Industrial Age. It was known for mixing many different historical styles together. It used modern materials for the time, like cast iron and large panes of glass, combined with older looks like Gothic or Tudor. From Balmoral Castle in Scotland to the Crystal Palace in London, this style showed off the era's wealth, industrial power, and interest in history. Byzantine Imperial. The architecture of the Eastern Roman Empire was famous for a key innovation, placing a large, round dome over a square room using curved triangular supports called pendentives. This technique allowed for very large and open interior spaces that had never been seen before. The interiors were often decorated with rich mosaics. The Hagia Sophia in Istanbul is the most famous example and influenced architects for centuries. Ottoman Imperial. The architecture of the Ottoman sultans was a mix of Byzantine, Persian, and Islamic styles. It is known for its large central domes that are surrounded by a series of smaller, cascading half-domes. The style also features tall, slender minarets and beautiful, detailed tilework on the inside. The Topkapi Palace and the great mosques of Istanbul are famous examples of this unique imperial style. Persian. This was the architecture of the ancient Persian kings, built to show the power of an empire that included many different cultures. The style is defined by its palaces built on large stone platforms, most famously at Persepolis. Key features include wide halls with many thin columns and grand staircases decorated with stone carvings. These carvings showed people from all over the empire bringing gifts to the king. Mughal Imperial. This style from the emperors of India is a blend of Islamic, Persian, and local Indian traditions. It is defined by its perfect symmetry, its use of white marble and red sandstone, and its large, formal gardens. Other features include finely carved marble screens, large onion domes, and tall, thin towers at the corners of the buildings. The Taj Mahal is the most famous example of this elegant style. Imperial Chinese. For centuries, Royal Chinese architecture followed a very strict set of rules based on order and symbolism. The style is defined by its symmetrical layout, the use of yellow roof tiles, which were only for the emperor, and its unique curved roofs. The roofs were held up by a complex system of interlocking wooden brackets called dugong. The Forbidden City in Beijing is the greatest example of this style. Japanese Shogunate. While influenced by Chinese architecture, the style of Japan's military rulers, or shoguns, favored natural materials and a close relationship with nature. The style is defined by its skilled use of wood, its elegant, gently curving roofs with deep eaves, and its connection to carefully designed gardens. Palaces like Nijo Castle were also built for defense, with special nightingale floors that would squeak to warn of intruders. Southeast Asian Temple Mountain. The royal architecture of empires like the Khmer in Cambodia was designed to be a symbol of Mount Meru, the mythical home of the gods. This style is defined by the Temple Mountain, a large symmetrical stone or brick complex with a tall central tower or group of towers. The complex is arranged as a series of galleries with steep staircases. Angkor Wat in Cambodia is the most famous masterpiece of this style. Russian Tsarist. This is a unique style from Russia, mixing European and Asian influences. Early Russian royal buildings are known for their brightly colored onion domes and tent-shaped roofs. Later, the Tsars brought in architects from Western Europe to build palaces in the Baroque and Neoclassical styles, especially in St. Petersburg. The Moscow Kremlin shows this mix, with both traditional Russian cathedrals and European-style palaces inside its walls. Mesoamerican. This architecture was built as a large stage for religious ceremonies and to show a ruler's power. The main feature of this style is the stepped pyramid. These were large stone pyramids with steep staircases that led to a small temple at the very top. They were seen as man-made mountains, built to bring the ruler and priests closer to the gods for important rituals. Sub-Saharan African. This is the architecture of skilled pre-colonial African kingdoms. In southern Africa, the rulers of Great Zimbabwe built with stone. The style is defined by large curving walls made of expertly cut granite blocks that fit together without mortar. In the Sahel region of West Africa, empires like Mali built palaces and mosques from earth, or adobe, creating a style with large, smooth walls supported by wooden beams. Thanks for watching. Which of these styles are your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed.